So in this co-rec lesson, we'll be looking at American units of measurement. And so what I have here at the top for us to do is just to sort of brainstorm what are the lengths of measurement that we here in the US use for measuring length, weight, capacity, and time. So if you think about it for length, probably the most common ones you think about would be measuring in feet. Like for example, when you go to, if you're looking to rent a house or buy a house, they always give you the square footage. Inches is a common measurement. Yards, those are common ones that we, if you want to go even larger, you're out on the road measuring in miles. Okay, so those are common measurements for length for American units. Weight, think about we measure in pounds, ounces, tons. Those are our common units of measurement. For weight. For capacity, that's filling something. So think about like when you're in the kitchen, you've got cups, gallons, gallon, sorry, quart, excuse me, we just said gallon, didn't we? Quart, pint. Okay. I mean, of course, I'm just sort of getting you started here, but there are others, but these are the most common ones for these length of measurements in the US. Now, time, think about time. How do we typically measure time? In minutes, hours, seconds. You can go even broader. You can think of weeks, days, years, months. So you get the idea, okay? So now if we move to our next example, it says that Susan is planning a lavish Easter dinner for her family and friends. She needs our help to determine how much she's going to need to buy of certain items. Here are the things that she needs. So in these particular examples, we'll walk through setting up conversions, because it says here in number 1, she needs 110 feet of paper table cloth covering that come in rolls of 10 yards each. We want to know, well, then how many rolls will she have to buy? So we know how much she needs. She needs 110 feet, but since the covering is sold in yards, we need to convert these feet into yards. So always start with what you're given. If it's not a fraction, make it a fraction by putting it over 1. And then this is where you want to go to your formula sheet that I provided you in your Math 143 class, and look to see, can you go directly from feet to yards? And it should be up towards the top that you can go directly from feet to yards. Well, in order for something to cancel out, units need to be diagonal from one another. So since feet are up top, in order for feet to get canceled out, we need to put feet at the bottom. We can go directly from feet to yards, so we put yards up top. You'll notice on your formula sheet that the conversion says that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. The 3 is beside the feet, so that means then the 3 has to go down here on the bottom, still beside the feet, in 1 yard. Now at this point, the feet cancel out. The only unit I have left is yards. So you know that you can stop at that point as far as your conversion factor goes. We multiply straight across when you're multiplying fractions. 110 times 1, of course, is 110. On the bottom, 1 times 3 is 3. 110 divided by 3 will give you 36.67 yards. So now you think about it. So she needs 36.67 yards, and the yards the rolls excuse me, the rolls come in 10 yards each. So how many will she need to buy? So we know that if she only bought 1 roll, she's going to get 10 yards. If she buys 2 rolls, she's going to get another 10 yards, so that's putting her at 20. She buys another one, that puts her at 30 total yards, but since she needs 36.67, she's going to have to buy 4 rolls. So that would be our final answer there. Okay. Now let's go down then to number 2. It says her desserts will require 60 ounces of sugar. Sugar is packaged in pounds. They want to know how many pounds then that will she need. So we start with what we're given. We have the 60 ounces, and we need to convert it to pounds. So we start with our 60 ounces over 1. And we look on our sheet and we ask ourselves, can we go directly from ounces to pounds? So if you're looking on your sheet now, can you go directly from ounces to pounds? And hopefully you're finding that, I believe, in the second box there on the formula sheet. To get rid of ounces, which is what we want to do, we get rid of those ounces. Since ounces are up top, in order to get rid of those, we have to put ounces on the bottom. We can put pounds up top. And you should have found on your sheet that there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. Again, because the 16 is associated with the ounces and the ounces are on the bottom, 16 goes on the bottom. There are 16 ounces in 1 pound. That way then ounces cancel out. We multiply straight across. 60 times 1 is 60 on the bottom. 1 times 16 is 16. Then we just divide. 60 divided by 16 will give us 3.75 pounds. So she would need 3.75 pounds. Okay. Other ways to write that, you could write that you could write it as 3 3/4 pounds. You could even say, what's that, 15/4 pounds. Okay, because 60 divided by 16 could be reduced to 15/4. Okay, I'm perfectly fine. You know, it'll usually with these like application type problems, it'll tell you how to round. So or I'll tell you how to round, and so you know typically, and also we don't usually in everyday life say, oh, I need 15/4 pounds of sugar. You might would say 3 3/4 or 3.75 pounds, for example, but you wouldn't say 15/4 pounds. So but nevertheless, any of those three answers are correct. I just boxed in the one that's probably the most prevalent. Okay. We'll move on down then to number 3. It says she's going to serve 50 cups of potato salad. If she can buy it by the quart, how many quarts will she need? So we're trying to convert our cups here into quarts. So we start with our 50 cups over 1, make it a fraction. We ask ourselves, looking on our formula sheet, can we go directly from a cup to a quart? And this time, if you're looking on there, you won't be able to do that directly. You'll have to use what I refer to as a chain of conversions. So you can't go directly from a cup to a quart, but you can take it from a cup to a pint. And then if you look one step below that, a pint can take you to a quart. So you have to take a multi-step there. So to get rid of those cups, since cups are up top, to get rid of them, you got to put cups on the bottom. And we're going to go from a cup to a pint. Looking on our formula sheet, it'll tell us that there are 2 cups in 1 pint. All right, so now at that point, cups have canceled out, but I'm not going to stop my conversion here because I'm at pint and I need to get to a quart. So I'm just going to keep on with my conversion. Pints are now up top. In order to get rid of the pints, put pints on the bottom. Now looking on your sheet, can you go directly from a pint to a quart? And hopefully you agree that yes, you can, and that there are 2 pints in 1 quart. Now from here, pints cancel out, and the only unit you have left is quart, and that's what you were trying to get. So we multiply straight across up top. 50 times 1 times 1, of course, just gives us 50. And then on the bottom, 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 50 divided by 4 would give you 12.5 quarts. So you need 12.5 quarts of potato salad. Okay. Moving on down to number 5. It says she needs 5 gallons of tea for everyone. How many ounces is this? So we want to take these 5 gallons and convert it to ounces. So we start with our 5 gallons over 1. And just like before, we ask ourselves, can we go directly from gallons to ounces? And looking on your sheet, you'll see that you can take yourself from a gallon to a quart, and a gallon to a liter, but we're still an American at this point, so we won't be able to go there directly, but you can make a chain of conversions here. To get rid of those gallons, put gallons on the bottom, and we can go from a gallon to a quart. And our formula sheet tells us there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. Since the 4 is associated with the quart and the quart's up top, that 4 is going to go up top. There are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. At that point, the gallons cancel out. I'm sitting at quarts, but I'm trying to get to ounces, so I'm not going to stop with my chain. I'm going to keep going. To get rid of those quarts, I put quarts at the bottom. I can't go from a quart to an ounce, but I can go from a quart to a pint. On your conversion sheet, it'll tell you that there are 2 pints in 1 quart. So now at that point, quarts have canceled out. Again, I still can't stop because I have pint and I'm trying to get to ounces, so keep on with my chain. To get rid of those pints, since pints are up top, put pints on the bottom. You can go from pint to a cup. And our formula sheet tells us that there are 2 cups in 1 pint. So then from here, the pints cancel out. Go one more time. I want to get rid of those cups. Get rid of cups, put cups on the bottom. And we can go from a cup to an ounce. And we know that there are 8 ounces in 1 cup. And then that way then, cups cancel out. I know that I can stop at this point because the unit I have left is ounces. I multiply straight across, so 5 times 4 times 2 times 2 times 8. That should land you at 640. And then on the bottom, all of those are 1, so it's like you have 640 divided by 1, and any number divided by 1 is just itself, so you have 640 ounces. Final answer. Okay, so hopefully you're seeing here what I'm doing here with these chains is that, I'm not stopping my chain until I get to the desired unit at the very end, okay? And it's especially helpful not to stop your chain whenever you're dealing, sometimes when you do conversions, you might have to end up rounding. And so if you stop a chain and you round in the middle of the problem and then do another step and round again, you're creating a lot of error. So that's why I always try to encourage you to go this route with using your full chain of conversions and not getting out of that chain until you reach your desired unit at the very end. Okay. All right, so let's move on down here to the last one. It says she's cooking her own turkey, and the directions say that it needs to be cooked 30 minutes per pound. She bought a 12-pound turkey. We want to know how many minutes she should cook it and how many hours she should cook it. So we start here with this 12-pound turkey. And they told us up here at the top, this is your conversion, that you cook it 30 minutes per pound. So 30 minutes for every 1 pound. So we want to get rid of these pounds and get it into time. So to get rid of these pounds, we put pounds on the bottom. And the conversion, like I said, is here in the problem. There are 30 minutes for every 1 pound. So 30 minutes for every 1 pound. At that point, pounds cancel out. I'm going to do 12 times 30 then, and that will give me 360 minutes. So that answers the first question, how many minutes? Now to convert this to figure out how many hours she's going to be cooking it, start with your 360 minutes over 1 and convert from minutes to hours. And I didn't put time conversions on your formula sheet because time conversions should be common knowledge. So in order to get rid of minutes, put minutes on the bottom, and we should know that we can go directly from a minute to an hour, and we know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Minutes then cancel out, multiply straight across, and I know I can stop because I'm sitting here at hours, and that's what I was trying to achieve. Multiply straight across, I get 360 on top, and on the bottom, 1 times 60, 60. And then divide, 360 divided by 60, and that will give you 6, and then your unit, hours. So she would cook it for 360 minutes, which is equivalent to 6 hours. So those are your 2 answers there, okay? There is a second page here to this set of notes, but I'm going to let you try this on your own. I think actually what I will do is I'll do number 3 with you because I see that it's got a mixed number there. So let me do number 3 with you, but everything else you got a fully worked out solution key online, and so everything else should be very straightforward. Just go through it, and this what this co-rec class is designed to do, is to help reinforce what you're learning in the class so that you are proficient with the material. So looking at number 3, when you start here 4 and 1/3, and sometimes the folks want to say, well, 1/3 is 0.333, and they just want to write that as a decimal. Well, if you do that, then what happens is you start to create error. So let's not create error. Let's be as exact and not do any rounding until the very end. So what I mean by that is then let's change this mixed number into an improper fraction. In order to do that, you just multiply and add. So 3 times 4 is 12, 12 plus 1 is 13, and then you always put it over whatever denominator you originally started with. So this will be a 3. And so, on the previous page, we always started with a whole number, so I always put it over 1. This one starts out as a fraction, so I don't need to put it over 1. I already have it as a top and a bottom. And then you're looking on your sheet, can you go directly from yards to inches? And you know what, I don't have one directly in front of me. You might be able to, but I'm gonna just take it. I'll do a chain here in case you don't see that one right off the bat. You can go from yards to feet, and we know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. At that point, then yards cancel out. And then we can go from feet to inches. To get rid of those feet, put feet on the bottom, inches up top, and we know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. That way then feet cancel out I'm left with inches. That's what I was trying to get to. And I just multiply straight across. So up top, 13 times 3 times 12 should land you at 468. And then on the bottom, 3 times 1 should put you at 3. And then just divide there and get your final answer of 156 inches. Okay? So very similar to what we were doing before. And like I said, I can't remember. I don't have a formula sheet sitting right here in front of me, but I might have it actually on the formula sheet that you can go directly from yards to inches in one step. And so if you know that, or if it's already on the sheet, then you could have done this in one step. But I just showed a chain. There's and that's another thing just to point out with these conversions. There is more than one way to, in some instances, to make the conversion itself. Okay. All right. Let me know if you need anything. Thanks a lot. Bye.